So, today is May 30th, 2019, Thursday. This has a jacket. It's white normally, but this is Raving Fans by Ken Blanchard. About 132 pages, and over the next 4 days, that's what we'll be going over. I cover the first 26 with this specifically. Now, this book is about a area manager that's newly promoted, and more or less the president of the company doesn't threaten him. It says, hey, look, you don't want to be like the other managers that did not perform. They didn't give us production. They weren't what we're after. And this guy promises quality. So while he's panicking in his office, he gets a fairy godmother, and it's really a guy who just claims himself that, and he goes through a little process of that, kind of talking about what that is. So this book is about management. I'm going to stop it there. This book is about management, which in my opinion is the most difficult thing. If you're an entry-level employee, oftentimes you don't have a lot of expectation or standard for yourself. Either, because you don't feel like you're making enough money, you don't think you have enough impact, it's difficult, you think it's to promote, you put all these restrictions on yourself. And if you're the president or the owner, you have that sort of pride of that. Now, the in-between, the people who are supposed to manage those employees and report upwards, are the most susceptible for stress, for being fired, for a ton of things. So it's a very, very difficult platform to be on. This is what helps. But this also translates to you as yourself, being the management of you as a person. So let's get back to the fairy godmother. He kind of explains these things that simple processes to go over in the beginning. But one is, this is actually in the foreword, but one part of this is goods are bought, they're not sold. So this is kind of what I said with the Zig Ziglar book, that you're educating people which wants them to buy. You're not giving them, hey, we're cheaper, let me sell you this. And this will kind of make more sense if you read this book or when you read this book. What was really cool about this, and still applies today, this applies for everybody as well, is that the standard we have as consumers for customer service is so low that we accept more or less a customer abuse on a regular basis because that's the norm. So this sort of translates over to us as people as well. If you're so used to being treated a certain way, you just sort of accept it, that, hey, that's the way people treat me, and that's the way I should be treated. Only you can change that perception of, no, this is my standard that I will tolerate because I see the value in myself, and no one else is going to dip below that value. This is way easier said than done. This isn't like a light switch. Sometimes you got to build yourself up to that, whether it's exercise or profession or diet and eating plan, whatever it is. You sort of need a ball rolling in that direction. But you have to set the standard for yourself. As soon as you make one exception for a person, everyone finds that exception and abuses it, and then it becomes the norm. So don't let that happen. So what he does is he gives him, during the course of this book, I've read it in the past, he gives him 3 tips on how to be better customer service. The first place he takes him is a family or locally owned department store that's in the mall, which anyone who's been to a mall, local department store in the mall is unheard of. It's just too expensive. And when he goes through this, he goes through all these experiences. The greeting at the door, finely dressed gentleman, tells them welcome in, we're happy to shop here, we have coffee on the next floor, here's a carnation, and welcomes him in the store, which he's kind of blown away. which is not an exceptional thing to do, but it's so different from the norm that we have to think about it. And what he's looking for is a gift for his wife, and he's looking for a book. And he knows that the book is heavily in demand and it's been sold out everywhere. And when he goes to the book section of this large department store, the lady tells him, yeah, I'm sorry we're sold out of that, but are you going to hang out for a little while? And what happens is she actually goes to a competitor to buy the book and then sells it to him at the price in which she bought it, and gift wraps it at no charge. This is during the course of which she's kind of doing shopping. He meets the owner and asks the owner, dude, how can you afford and do all these things? And this is very key for everyone, both personally and professionally. How can you afford not to? What are you losing on the large scale by not going that one extra step? On their way out, they see a sign that says, basically in the women's section, hey, we'll help you out. We'll get you different colors and sizes. There's no limits on how many you can have in here. And between the two, they realize that, oh, when other stores say, oh, there's a limit of 5 or whatever it may be, they're offending the majority of people that are buying to minimize the few that are stealing. So this is a numbers game. You're playing the odds of how many people how much business am I going to lose versus how much savings am I going to have by doing whatever it is. This also goes for yourself. How unhealthy is it to keep the people around that make me feel awful about myself, or that don't promote my value, or that don't help me get better because I've known them for a long time, because they're my family, because whatever excuse. The stock in what you have in that is so valuable that you need to minimize what's bad for you and maximize what's good for you. So it sort of plays opposite. In business, you're going after the masses. In personal, you're going after the mass of influence, which is usually a very small group of people. If you're around 5 people that you highly value, that value you, yeah, that's a great idea. You should go after that. I think you're good at this. This is an occupation I think you'll excel in, or a business. That value is way bigger than having 100 friends that like to go party and think you're fun, but don't think you should do anything risky. Don't think you should make your life better. Don't think you should take a risk on profession to progress. So we have to look at those. But this is a book about management. I stopped at page 26 because he's going to go to the next one, which I think is Sally's Grocery Store. That's one of my favorites, which is pretty cool. Super easy to read. They're not even full pages. So with this, it's a book about management, but it's about also management of yourself. Super, super, super key. And I'll continue to go over this as we grow as a cyber social world and less as a person-to-person world, which is the irony is I'm doing this on a video, putting it out on the internet for people to watch. I'd like to meet you, but whoever's watching it, if I don't know you, I hope that happens in the future. It's easier for us to hide behind things when that happens, this cyber world. But yes, this is a very good book beyond the actual laws of management for business, if you look a little further than that. With that being said, stay tuned for tomorrow when we go through that. Today it's a little late. I just got a late start. Tomorrow should be a more normal time. And like, share, subscribe. Enjoy your Thursday. I will see you mañana.